Just 3 months into what would grind on as a 2-year war in Gaza, staff at the U.S. Agency for International Development drafted a warning to senior officials in Joe Biden's administration. Northern Gaza had turned into an apocalyptic wasteland, with dire shortages of food and medical aid. The internal message laid out in gruesome detail scenes observed by United Nations staff who visited the area on a 2-part humanitarian fact-finding mission in January and February of 2024. They reported seeing bones on the road, dead bodies abandoned in cars, and, quote, catastrophic human needs, particularly for food and safe drinking water. But according to interviews with 4 former officials and documents seen by Reuters, the U.S. ambassador to Jerusalem and his deputy blocked the cable from wider distribution within the United States government because they believed it lacked balance.
This is a difficult time. Representing the United States as ambassador to the State of Israel is a profound honor.
The former ambassador, Jack Lew, and his deputy, Stephanie Hallett, did not respond to requests for comment. The February 2024 cable was one of 5 sent in the first part of that year, documenting the rapidly deteriorating health, food, and sanitary conditions. That's according to 6 former officials, who said the communiques reported the breakdown of social order for Palestinians living in Gaza, resulting from Israel's military campaign. Reuters saw one of those cables. The other 4, also blocked by Lew and Hallett because of their concerns about balance, were described by 4 former officials. 3 former U.S. officials said the descriptions were unusually graphic and, had they been widely circulated, would have drawn the attention of senior U.S. officials within President Biden's administration. They also said it would have deepened scrutiny of a national security memorandum issued by Biden that month, which conditioned the supply of U.S. intelligence and weapons on Israel's compliance with international law. Former Secretary of State Antony Blinken and representatives for former President Joe Biden did not respond to requests for comment about the fact that the cables never reached upper leadership of the U.S. government.
We recognize that there are real food security issues in Gaza, 100%.
As the cables were being drafted in early 2024, the White House and other senior U.S. officials were broadly aware of the worsening humanitarian situation in northern Gaza. In January, the embassy did approve the wider distribution of a cable about food insecurity throughout Gaza, and the information made it into the president's daily briefing. It was one of the first detailed reports from USAID into the rapidly deteriorating situation inside Gaza, including growing food insecurity in the south of the enclave. Biden said this in February.
There are a lot of innocent people who are starving, a lot of innocent people who are in trouble and dying.
But 6 former U.S. officials said senior people in the administration were not receiving regular first-hand accounts from Gaza because of intense battles between Israel and Hamas. Moreover, USAID had ceased operations in Gaza since 2019, and much of its reporting drew on information provided by UN agencies. 3 former U.S. officials told Reuters that dependence on third parties contributed to some Biden officials' skepticism of USAID reporting because USAID had no staff inside Gaza. In several instances, the former officials said the White House pushed back on USAID analyses that suggested civilians were starving in Gaza. The skepticism about the U.S. government's humanitarian reporting stirred tensions inside the National Security Council and angered USAID officials working on the Gaza portfolio. The Biden administration's backing for Israel during the war deeply divided the Democratic Party and remains an unresolved issue for its political candidates. More than 80% of Democrats believe that Israel's military response in Gaza has been excessive and that the United States should help people in the enclave who are facing starvation, according to a Reuters Ipsos poll last August.